Hello, welcome to the inaugural episode of the Talk&Schlock Connection.
Hello,
I'm Chris.
I'm Cory.
All right. So what we're gonna do here essentially is it's pretty simple for us. We're just gonna pick a movie each week in the B category. Could be from anywhere. We're not like singling ourselves to like just the 80s or this and that. We can go anywhere. But we're gonna be mainly talking about some um movies we might like or dislike, but they all have one thing in common. They're kind of shitty. B
But
movie.
we're starting off on a high note though.
Yeah, real high note with this one.
We're starting out with a gem on this one.
Neon Maniacs from 1986.
The 1986 gem, Neon Maniacs. I will give this movie credit. There are very few movies like this movie in any decade, like in any genre. This is a unique one.
I could show you another one. I'm sure we're gonna do it on the show because no, we're absolutely gonna do it on the show because it's different because it's kind of the same way, but I actually kind of like it.
I like this movie. It's definitely a product of its time and some production issues. I mean, we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
But like, it's one of those movies though, like, because I saw it on Sci-Fi Channel for the first time at like, I want to say
Yeah,
it was in it was like one of their marathons or something, and
Yeah.
I was falling asleep.
Yep.
And like when I watched it, I was like, oh shit, it's an awesome movie to like find like when you're a horror fan, you never heard of it.
Sure.
Like, as goofy as it is, like the monsters look pretty cool. It's very, very formulaic, and like, we were saying before, there's almost like zero plot to this movie.
Right.
There's a lot of questions to be answered, but not a lot of plot.
So this movie is made, we already said 1986. It cost $1.5 million to make, which
you wouldn't guess that.
No, and also for 86, it seems like a pretty decent budget.
It looks pretty. It doesn't look like terrible or anything. It doesn't look like, it looks like money was put into like the production and everything.
Right.
But it's also seems like extremely rushed in a weird way.
Yeah.
Because for everything like that's like kind of like cool about this movie, there's something that just seems like there's reels missing of this movie. There's like a great 80s horror movie in there somewhere, but
all right, I guess let's get into it. We open on the Golden Gate Bridge. There's a bum snooping around the Golden Gate Bridge. He stumbles over to some sort of bum homeless corner, and he finds what essentially I thought right away were the Neon Maniacs trading cards.
Dude, I thought it was funny because he finds them in a cow skull that's like popping the door open.
Yeah, what?
And because I thought, I was like, are these like their headshots? Like, are they trying to like, are they just hoping like an agent walks by? Well, these guys, like, yeah, I like what I'm seeing here.
So I'm gonna put this guy in a slasher. All right.
Yeah, look at that. They're all like identity confused horror villains that don't quite know what they're doing.
That guy is quickly dispatched once he finds the rookie cards. Then we get the Neon Maniacs across the screen. We're getting the cast rundown. Then we break into a van full of teenagers.
Mid-20s teenagers. Actually, I have a funny note about that.
Yeah.
We haven't gotten to her yet. My favorite character in this movie is Paula, like the 30-year-old, 14-year-old.
Yo, that they just put like a little sideways hat on her, and it's like, yeah she's 12.
It's like putting Helena Bonham Carter in your movie and putting like a Fresh Prince hat on her and telling people she's 14.
So then we're introduced to I mean the main characters, because everybody else in that car doesn't matter, as we're gonna see. Natalie and Steve.
Yeah.
Steve works at his family's meat market. Apparently he works there a lot and gets made fun of for working a lot by this guy.
Yeah. Well, dude, it's like what's his face from the Amazing Spider-Man movies? The guy who played Spider-Man in those.
Flash Thompson.
No, I mean like the actual guy that plays Spider-Man. I don't know why his name always
Tom
escapes me.
Holland.
Like the one in the Amazing Spider-Man movies, though.
Andrew Garfield. Andrew Garfield.
Yeah, like
Okay.
how he's supposed to be like a geek or a dork in those movies, but he
Yeah.
like what high school? Like this kid would totally be accepted like in a fucking heartbeat. And like the
I feel like we find out later why he's not very accepted. That music, boy. Woo!
Definitely a bit of a weirdo, but like he has a way better comeback to the supposed like bully in that scene too, because like the dog goes in there and they have that stupid line where it's like, "Oh yeah, my dog's name is Dog because cat was or because I didn't think it would be right."
That'd be kind of weird.
You're an asshole for naming your dog that anyway.
But then when he walks away from that scene, he definitely doesn't call that dog Dog. He calls it by a name. Like he had a name for it. So like, what was the point of that joke?
Yeah, it didn't go anywhere. And he has, like I said before, he has a way better comeback to the supposed bully. Like, or he says something.
He said something like, I heard you. He's like, basically like, I heard you work full time at the fruit market, which is pretty not.
Oh no, he's like, they need a bouncer at the fruit market.
Yeah.
And like the guy who's supposed to be the bully, he's like, pepperoni breath or like.
Yeah, he called him. He did call him pepperoni breath. He did call him. He definitely called him that.
It's almost like the geek guy's like, yeah, if you weren't gonna get killed in the park later, I'd beat the fucking shit out of you in your own van right now. he's like way more masculine than him.
Dude, I have a note about this scene in the van when they're driving. Or no, they go to a park. They park at a park and essentially are like playing football in the dark or whatever, just screwing around, whatever. Yeah. But the girls are talking. The girls are talking about like having sex with dudes, and like in the middle of the conversation, one of their friends takes off with a guy, and they're like, and the girl's like, Sue's crazy. She's not on the pill or anything.
I love that.
Like, what?
She's not on the pill? What?
She's gonna have unprotected sex. And another note before we keep going is this weird ass Casio keyboard soundtrack.
Well, no, here's the thing, like that was a solid opening to it, but it goes right into that Casio like the kind of music you'd hear in like a mall in the mid 90s, like
yeah. It goes to that, and then when like I think somewhere in the middle or during the credits, it hits into like a softcore porn fucking track. Like it's really weird.
It definitely there's little things in this movie that all seem like last second, like because I get they had production issues or whatnot, so they basically like tried to edit together the best movie they could, but
seems like certain
things. It's this movie's kind of like, you ever see that episode of Aqua Teen Hunger Force where like they burn Santa's skin off and try to like reconstruct him like this is my skin now. That's what this movie is. Like that's essentially just this monstrosity. It's like, oh, I guess this is what I am.
So there's still like confusing shit going on in this park. Like randomly some guy on a motorcycle runs through and he's like, just drives through. And they're like, oh, fucking asshole.
I like the initial reaction though to like because the first kid, the guy's name is Wally, I think.
Yeah.
Hold on, I had it like
I only wrote down like 4 characters' names that
like they're aside from 3 characters in this movie, there's really no reason in remembering anybody's name.
Absolutely.
But no, like I think it's the Neon Maniac. It's a samurai that throws a firework at them while he's like hanging out with his girlfriend or whatever. And his initial hold on. God damn, I had it like down some here. But no, like
that was a funny scene too, because the guy was like The guy was just standing next to a tree lighting firecrackers, and then the samurai rolls up, pulls his sword
he's
out.
so like blasé about it. He's like, "Yo, you want to start something, you scrawny wimp," or something. He says
Yeah,
something
yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah. And then
He's
he
dressed
just
as a
like,
samurai. Like that's you're not like, what the fuck are you? What am I looking at?
and then he sees the fucking sword and he pulls out like what is essentially looks like a large firecracker.
Oh, a Roman candle.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Roman candle. Like what, dude? This guy's
I
got a
mean,
sword. He doesn't give a fuck about your Roman candle.
he does like a. I mean, he blows a hole in the guy, but that doesn't seem to do much. I mean, we find out what the Neon Maniacs' main weakness is later on in the movie.
Which is also hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, beat another movie to the punch by like well over a decade. That's
So we get that. Well, I think first the fucking leather maniac. Like I call him the leather maniac. He's like a biker apparently. He's got like
the Pulp Fiction maniac.
yeah. So he fucking hooks a guy and just starts dragging him away. Then the samurai cuts that other dude up. They all just descend upon this park. Like there's like some fucking goofy I call him the creeper because he showed up at that girl's house later, like creeping by the pool and shit while she was swimming.
The albino ape guy.
Yeah, the albino ape guy.
Okay,
I call him the creeper because he was just a creep.
That's accurate.
But
I mean,
go ahead.
No, I was gonna say. I mean, they essentially did take like the village people and turn them into like a troop of like horror villains.
Yeah.
I mean, which in all honesty at that time, not a bad idea. Like considering like on paper, it's like
yeah,
you would just laugh that off, but at least they try. I mean, there's a lot of aspects of this movie where they didn't really try, but they actually put in some effort into like the actual like Neon Maniacs themselves. If nothing else. That's like basically the only reason anybody really remembers this movie.
Yeah, they look great like that. Yeah. I mean, they didn't spend the budget on acting.
No, they didn't for the acting.
But
well, they didn't put a lot of the budget into anything apparently.
Fucking so Natalie, who we met earlier, who was talking to Steven, is the only person that was smart enough to stay in the van. So all the maniacs descend upon this van. She closes up the doors, locks the doors, and then there's thunder. And all of a sudden these fucking maniacs disappear, right?
Yeah.
So then Natalie, she gets away, obviously, goes to the police, tells them that her friends all died, and the cops take a statement and they're like, what is this, some kind of prank? And the cops,
I think I know what you're gonna talk about here, like the police chief's reaction.
Yeah, that detective guy is fucking he's like Dennis Franz, but like extra assholey.
It's like, why is he so like fucking, why is that his reaction to this? Like he's turned on by it.
But he's also seems really annoyed that someone's like reporting a crime.
Well, no, it's like he leans back in his chair and he like looks at the guy. He's like, "Let's see what the sunrise, or let's see what comes."
See what comes with the sunrise.
Like that's a weird reaction for a fucking multiple missing persons case here.
So essentially the cops go to the crime scene and they figure out that they didn't find any bodies, so they assume this girl is fucking insane, or she killed everybody, or has something to do with her friends being missing.
The Neon Maniacs also amazing at crime scene pickup. Another little interesting fact.
I mean, they leave maniac goop all over the place.
Watch it. Yeah. Oh, you mean they leave lemon Gatorade all over the place?
Yeah. Oh, I forgot this part. The one guy that gets really tough with one of them, at some point he goes, he's like, you want to fight? He's like, I go both ways. Oh yeah.
I had that like I wrote that down too, because he's like, I go both ways, bro. He I think he goes for like a move or like a lunge or something and he misses completely.
Like, buddy, that's fine and dandy, but your sexual orientation has nothing to do with this fight. Like, I don't
He says it
understand.
straight face. There was nothing ironic about
Yeah,
what he was saying
straight
either.
faced, straight faced.
You go both
So,
ways, man. That would
so
work in a fight too. You just
here's
be
a
like,
here's another thing. Like, they send that girl home. They're like, okay, go back to your house or whatever. She goes back to her house. What is with the '80s movies and like their parents are gone? Like, this
yeah,
woman's parent, this girl's parents, mom was like in Thailand or Australia or something.
the
Like,
parents are
what?
perpetually on vacation.
Yeah,
Well,
always gone.
that's like every. I mean, even as recent as that movie Freaky with Vince Vaughn, like literally the opening scene is a bunch of teenagers in a huge, beautiful house that is just being provided by them. So
Right, right. So she
it's. I mean,
go
it's
ahead.
a plot device that works. I mean,
I mean, I guess
in this movie, it's a little bit more ridiculous.
every other parent in this movie is always on the phone.
There's actually a very well done scene I think in this movie where I I can't remember if it's the parent or the sister of one of the kids that got killed, like calling the girl and like is emotionally like, please tell me what happened to like my
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
that was
This is
like that was surprisingly like a really well done scene and a very like
that was good.
a very well movie.
That's right after they show her the night before she goes for a nighttime swim, and the albino ape or the creeper, he's creeping around the fence. He's gonna go in. He's gonna go in for the kill, but
Dude, he's like he walks like a creeper too. He's literally like holding like a spear, like,
he so he goes in like he's gonna go for the kill, and then water splashes near him and he fucking freaks out and gets out of there. So that's where we find out. Well, no, we don't really find out, but like, so it makes it weird because I'm like, okay, this dude almost got splashed with some water. He's scared.
yeah.
So then we cut to the cops at the crime scene collecting slime, collecting the lemon Gatorade,
Lemon Gatorade. I mean, that's what it is basically. Maybe
and
that's the neon. You know what I mean? I'm just thinking of that now.
I mean, you could be right. I mean,
That's
it
the
makes
closest thing
sense.
to neon we get in this movie. We get the maniacs, not so much the neon.
Yeah. Then we meet Sue, the 22-year-old, 14-year-old, who actually, I will say this, that hat is actually like has a patch on it that says USS Nostromo, which is like from Alien, which I thought was pretty cool.
Well, they show her bedroom and it's like kind of full. It's like kind of like discount Tommy Jarvis bedroom. You know what I mean? Like
I was just about to say, dude, it's like Tommy
like
fucking Jarvis.
there's photos of some good shit and there's like some masks, but they don't look Tom Savini quality.
Right.
You know? So I mean,
Right.
they again like probably the most fleshed out character in the entire movie, I would say. And like
Absolutely.
I said before, like probably my favorite. Like
Yeah, she
as
was cool.
as absurd as like it's like all right, you're 4'11", you can play a 14-year-old even though you're fucking 30.
Yeah. So that girl, Natalie, so we meet fucking Paula. She's obviously what we spoke about. She's like a big monster movie fan and stuff like this, makes her own videos and has a lot of giant computers in her room. Uh so then she goes to bed. It's the next day and we go back to Natalie, and Natalie receives a couple phone calls, one from Paula, who's or not, that's later actually, about the kids that have disappeared. We spoke about the scene where the girl is pleading like, where is her sister? And then she goes to school where she continues to be basically harassed about this. Even Paula rolls up, like, hey, I just want to talk to you. I just want to talk to you about what happened. And they're like, fuck off, fucking fuck off, little one.
Fuck off, never been kissed.
And then they go to lunch, and somebody rolls right up on her, is ready to beef over this. And
the sister of like one of the guys or one
yeah,
of the that got killed. Yeah.
and Steve gets in the way. Steve, has a thing for Natalie.
Oh yeah.
He steps in the way, breaks it up, and Natalie goes home. Natalie goes home, and you hear a voiceover of the principal saying, "Hey, maybe you should just stay home for a while." And creepy Steve is like, "Oh, I gotta work today, darn it!" And then he gets his little list of deliveries, and guess where he's delivering groceries to? Natalie. He's like, "Oh yeah, my day just got better."
Sunglasses at night, Steve.
Sunglasses at night, Steve.
It was funny because like when you first see him out of his his running garb, he does dress like the most 80s motherfucker you can possibly fucking think of.
Yeah.
They hit it off too in her abandoned or an enormous house that she has all to herself.
Yeah. So Paula's pretty persistent. Like she will not take no for an answer. So she ends up getting Natalie's phone number and calling her like, "Please come on, you got to talk to me. Like, we got to talk about this." And she hangs up on her. Steve and her have a little back and forth, and she's like, "How do I pay for these groceries?" And he's like, "We bill your mom at the end of the month, whatever." She's like, "Let me give you a tip," and he's like, "You know what?" He's like, "No need. How about instead I take you to the movies?" So they get a little date. Paula, meanwhile, hears about some kind of goop and goes down to the park to find some goop. And she goes down there and what the hell? Oh, she follows the trail of this lemon Gatorade, and it leads to the big door. I don't know what the hell that place is where the Neon Maniacs sleep.
Well, it's under the it's under a bridge by the San Francisco Bay.
Okay, so yeah, it's like one of the sides of the one side of the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yeah, basically.
She finds it, but then a cop rolls up on her. It's like, "What are you doing down here, kid?" Like he just hits all the cop tropes when they're talking to a little kid. Get out of here, and I don't want to see you down here ever again.
Or your kids, because you're clearly not. Why you're like 30? Why are you dressed as the Fresh Prince?
Then one of the funniest things in this movie is when she takes off and then rolls up on a cop riding her fucking bike like a goof. He's like, "No, no, 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 no."
He's like the handlebars and shit.
And
yeah.
his reaction when he sees her and he's like, "Is this your bike, kid?" It almost seems like he was disappointed, like he was just gonna keep the bike for himself. Like,
it's like, what the fuck? I mean,
Paula gets her.
Not terrible police work considering,
I mean, they recovered the bike. Paula goes home and surprise her parents are going out, and they basically her mom like reads her this riot act that's basically a culmination of everything you heard during a 16-hour span of a day, but she said it all at once. "Lock the door after we leave. Don't be staying up too late. Dinner's in the oven." Like all this stuff, and then it's like the dad's like,
well, Paula's mother is like mostly heard through like the same way what's his name, Leibowitz from Big Bang Theory's mother. Like you just hear her in voice. Like basically,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like technically there's a parent there somewhere.
Oh man. So I really no, I didn't. I'm good. Wait, maybe I skipped. No, I didn't skip. So Paula, after her parents leave, she didn't stay home. She went back, and it was nighttime. She gets back around there, and the maniacs are coming out. So she hides like in some brush, and actually videotapes one of these maniacs, and almost gets caught up, and just takes off, goes back home. she tries to call Natalie with the information that she has, but Natalie's on her date with Steve. You're going on a date. They're going into the subway.
I wonder what Natalie's answering machine sounded like. It was just all messages by her. Natalie, it's that girl that's obsessed with you from Heights. Beep.
Okay, I got cut off last time, but listen.
Sorry, I got cut off. Shit, wait a minute. Are you sure you can hear beep?
So
just like a half hour of messages from her.
I feel like Steve and Natalie don't even make it to the movie. They're on the subway and the maniacs are fucking out, dude. They're like, we're gonna kill this fucking bitch. Like,
they are essentially the war, like in the movie The Warriors, because like they're hopping over like the little things that you gotta like
dude,
in the subway. They're all like they charge that
it.
fucking train like the fucking like army from Braveheart.
The dude couldn't go through. He didn't understand. He just kept fucking bumping his body into it. The dude touched it with some fucking low budget lightning, and fucking the thing started spinning.
Well, I mean, all right. Here's the thing. Like, we haven't like gone over it quite yet, but the Neon Maniacs themselves, like from what I've counted, there's a cop, a samurai, like a melting zombie, like the one that's like predominantly on the covers, a surgeon, the albino caveman, a Native American, and probably like a few others that I can't quite think, or that there are a few. Like you said, one of them looks like a S&M gimp kind of.
Yeah.
The guy that's like enjoying like driving the train way too much.
So, that guy. He was whipping that train. So they get chased.
Like multiple scenes of that.
They get chased through the subway. They essentially get away, or they think they jump on a bus when they get off the subway, and the maniacs give a little chase there. But essentially they get away and go back to Nat's house. The cops turn out they want to tail Nat because they think that she's lying, obviously, because you just said weirdos killed all your friends, but there's no bodies. They also find out that the samples of the goo they collected are unrecognizable. Shit, where am I? This shit starts cutting real quick. Then, like, there's a maniac. All of a sudden, a maniac pops up in Paula's house, and this is where we really find out how we get rid of these things.
Yeah, it happens initially when she's outside of their bridge facility or whatever the hell you want to call it.
Bridge facility.
It's like, well, it's almost like the Neon. I thought it would be awesome if they go in there and the Neon Maniacs have like a setup like the Foot Clan from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. Like there's like a half pipe there, and like
I was also thinking like, what if they did it was like they walk in there and it's set up like the APA. They're just playing fucking poker.
They're all smoking. They're all like wearing fucking like tank tops and shit. It's like Paula comes in. He's like, hey, one of them's just like, hey, you got some brown stuff on your nose there.
That's fucking crazy.
I don't know. Like,
so go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no. Sorry. You can go.
God damn it. So so the maniac attacks Paula, who, what I thought was weird, she grabs a squirt gun, but she was researching like how to deal with the supernatural, and it was like holy water and
she
mirrors.
Saw firsthand too. She saw like firsthand too, like one of them fall in a puddle.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's what she took the video of. So she squirts this thing with the squirt gun. It backs up. It backs into her bathroom, falls into the tub, and she just turns the shower on. It's over, disintegrated.
Yeah.
In the morning, she goes right to Natalie's house, pounding on the door as if calling a million times was not stalkerish. Just pounds on the door until they just stand there and stare at the door until they decide to answer it.
They don't respond to your messages, show up at their house.
And she says that she saw them too, and that's when they're like, all right, well,
yeah.
So in my notes, these beats, it's crazy. As once you get past like the first half hour of the movie, how quick it cuts to all these things. Like then
I don't
they
know.
come up with a plan. All of a sudden, there's a dance that we didn't know about until right now. They're like, "Yo, we're giving out squirt guns at the dance. We got this. We got this."
Nobody asked why. We're just handing them out.
So we find out this dance is like slash a battle of the bands, and
Yeah.
Steve's in a band. He's one of the bands, and then
He's a
Rat,
man of many talents.
and like yes, then Rat Junior is on the other side. Um, but the funniest thing is like all the corny things he says before they start playing, and he's like, yeah, we plan on cooking tonight. And then they proceed to play like the softest pretend Rick Springfield song ever. Like,
You know what's funny about that though? You know the Steve's. Did they ever say what the name of his band was? Because I remember the first line he says of his of the song they play is "Allow me to ruin your night." Like,
oh yeah.
like a lot of the lines. It's like, man, you aren't kidding with that fucking line.
So then they play, the lights go out, comes back, it's not quite Poison. Uh they
Yeah.
start jamming. I'm like, in my head, if we didn't get an outcome to this battle of bands, I feel like that not so poison probably won. But
Probably.
right on cue, the Maniacs come in and they're rolling deep. There's Maniacs I didn't see before. Here comes Army Maniac with a fucking M16, just starts columbining the place.
Well, dude, oh, I was gonna say, like, nowadays, if this got released, like, that would be like cut completely out of the movie. Any kind of like school massacre or anything, like in the like
Absolutely.
a gymnasium like that. I was gonna say though, it's weird because we see maybe 8 to 10 like actual like fleshed out neon maniacs, but when it shows them like approaching the school, there seems to be like 30 of them.
Yeah, I
So
did
it's
notice that. I was like,
like
wait,
there's
where did
been like an
these?
army of
I was
them the
like, who
whole
are
time.
these ones? Who are these ones? Like,
Yeah.
uh,
It's
so the maniacs start essentially all breaking into the school. Like they don't know how to use the door. Clearly, the doors aren't locked because there's a battle of the bands. But they just dive through windows and shit. Uh, there's a doctor. He slips in. Apparently, you keep your security in the boiler room,
yeah.
right? This was actually a pretty cool scene. That doctor like kills him and then just starts like performing surgery and like pulling his body parts out. That was pretty cool. Doctor, by the way, Andrew Devoff, who
The
also
Wishmaster
was the
himself.
Wishmaster. This was his first role. This was his first movie.
I think I recently watched that movie Toy Soldiers from like
Yeah,
the very early 90s, and
yeah.
I always forget he's like the lead villain in that.
He's the
Or like
villain. Yeah, I
like,
love
yeah,
that movie, dude.
the dude's I mean been in like a lot of shit other than that. Like, you know, he was great. And he's never like bad in anything you see him in either, really.
Yeah, so Steve's still playing because they got to battle each other, different songs. Uh, Nat Nat sees what's going on, takes off. She's running around the school. Steve's playing another terrible song.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
That music performance goes on. Like it
yeah,
fucking doesn't
yeah,
like
yeah.
for both bands. It's like, man, they're gonna play the entire thing. Like
The biker guy, I'm pretty sure he stole that guy's motorcycle from earlier from the beginning of the movie.
yeah.
Crashes through a door, hooks some dude, starts dragging him down the hallway. It kind of looks like Class of Nukem High. Then,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
here I wrote Maniacs on the dance floor. uh, they're
That'd
just
be awesome if that
they're
just
just
started playing over the speakers.
they're just walking through like chilling. This girl was like, "Hey Tonto, let's dance," but she like spills a drink in front of him. He was like, "No, I don't want none of that."
Well, I was kind of hoping they'd go like full on like the Gremlins having fun scene, only with like the Neon Maniacs. Like it's
Like wearing sunglasses and shit.
it's one of them's like in the DJ booth.
uh so then the army, this is the part where the army maniac pops in and just starts popping a clip, yet I don't think anybody got shot, dude.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie.
I don't know. I think that's like, 'cause we were talking before about like how this movie would like that would get cut
Oh
immediately.
yeah,
That's
oh yeah,
probably like
absolutely.
the
They just start wreaking havoc. The samurais chopping people's arms off.
yeah.
There's that one thing that's I don't even know if it's a maniac. Just looks like a one-eyed lizard, and it doesn't do anything. It just distracts the
Oh,
cop. Just distracts the cop to get his throat slit. Like
well, it has a moment with the cop too first.
yeah.
They stop and stare. Like I kept expecting like the soundtrack to fucking Dirty Dancing to come on. Hungry eye.
So while this chaos is going on, Natalie gets back and is like, Steve, cut the shit. Stop singing your crappy songs. And they're here. They're in there. They're cutting people up. Paula grabs the fire hose and just starts spraying. Spraying them, and they're getting fucked up. But they're all over the
I like how
school,
they're
so
like,
it's not. Huh?
I like how they're like, fuck. I just like how they're both like, yeah, like fuck her. She can take care of herself.
Yeah, they're
Just
like
leave
they
her.
look at her like she's good. We can go. The Nat and Steve essentially left Paula there because they're gonna go to the office and try to use the phone to call the police because all the maniacs are there. Um, one of the cooler things that happened was they were running up the stairs and Steve popped the other fire hose and laid it on the stairs and turned the water on so the maniac that was chasing them couldn't come up the stairs. I thought that was pretty cool. That was actually pretty clever.
Yeah, I mean, some of like the actual like action like instances in this movie, like you said, like the massacre in the at the, at the auditorium costume party slash battle of the bands, which is an awesome concept to be honest, like
I
especially for like an 80s movie.
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
and there's that scene too where like they're immediately accepted. You know what I mean? Like kind of like how it was in Venom 2. Like
Oh
it's like,
yeah,
wow, you're clearly not human.
yeah,
Like same thing happened in like Idle Hands. Like, oh, that's really good makeup.
yeah. It didn't matter to those kids.
Yeah,
They're fucked.
they just
They're
like
like, oh,
accepted.
welcome, come on in. Okay, one of you could
Yeah.
possibly have sex with me.
Oh, who did your makeup? Yeah.
So 3 or 4 of them are like cornering Steve and Nat in this science room, and then what happens? They had to get out of there or something. I missed what happened. Did like rain start happening or thunder? They had to get out of there.
They had sex while they were being
Well, yeah, that's what I was getting to. Like, but they were like, oh, they didn't find them. So then they just took off. And then these two proceed to have sex in the science lab. How do you know one of these motherfuckers is still not around?
that's
Plus,
bold. I mean,
plus you're just like, now's as good a time as any.
The camera pans out and you just see like the fucking albino ape guy like in the corner just like spanking it like fucking Charlie Murphy in
He's
that
like, yeah, like in the
shit.
Mad Real World when he's in that corner crying. Well, the albino's even crying too.
The albino's just sitting in the back, just like spanking, watching him.
So the cops come and there's no maniacs and there's dead kids. So naturally they take them all, Steve, Nat, and Paula, to the police station. And they're like, yo, we are not lying. Like, come on. They're like, we will show you. They take them to the big door.
Yeah.
They look around and there's nothing but there's like old cars, just junk, and no maniacs. So the detective's like, yo, get the fuck out of here. It's over. Whatever. He's looking around. He eventually opens the back of what I think was a milk truck. And
the bakery truck.
Bakery truck. And just this white smoke light. And he's like, ah! And
that's their portal, right? Because this is what I've gathered.
Gotta be.
The Neon Maniacs are interdimensional beings whose portal is in the back of a bakery truck at the bottom of a bridge. Even though their one weakness is water, they're right next to a giant water source.
Yeah, they're next to the
one
San
heavy
Francisco
rain.
Bay.
Yeah. one heavy rain and they're like an inch deep in the one thing that could possibly kill them. So
uh,
again, like
and basically, this is the end of the movie because then you get Steve, Nat, and Paula drive away, and Steve's just like, "Hey, you got your squirt gun still? Good, because it's not gonna rain forever." And then cut credits, bang, like nothing, no resolution here.
it literally is like them like on the way to like confront them in like a final showdown or whatever, or you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because I remember seeing this for the first time on like late night cable, and I could have sworn I fell asleep before the ending. And watching it years later, it's like, oh no, it turns out it just does not have an ending. So
so I guess that leads into like the things you wanted to talk about, like the production trouble and trivia and
well,
whatnot.
this had a very Paul Heyman production from what I've seen, and by that I mean a lot of the staff did not get paid. It got to the point where I guess one of the camera guys left with his equipment, so they couldn't film any more of the movie until they paid him.
Wow.
Uh, it was plagued by production issues, and if you notice in the credits, every single Neon Maniac, they're all listed, but there's multiple actors playing almost all of them, and
Yeah.
that's because the actors that they hired all kept quitting because it was such a bad production.
Jesus Christ.
And apparently the reason why this movie just ends abruptly, it's not to tease a sequel, it's because they literally ran out of money. And so this
Wow.
movie is the product of a bunch of people who set out to make like a, quality horror film, literally just couldn't finish it because they, shot it all in order apparently.
Yeah.
And they just did the best with what they had. And all things considered, it turned out okay, like
Yeah.
considering they only had most of a movie complete. You
Right.
know?
So I guess we're gonna judge it 1 to 10, but on kind of a different scale. Like as
Uh,
like a schlocky B movie, what rating? Like you can't really like the rating can't really be like, man, was this a
well, yeah,
Oscar
like
award winner 10 out of 10? Like we're gonna judge on a B movie like enjoyment scale out of 1 to 10. You know what I
so
mean?
so bad it's good scale, 7 out of 10.
Give it a seven.
Because
I give
again, like it's just the fact that it's incomplete kind of hurts it to a degree, but also in a way like kind of adds to like its I don't know, laughability, because it's like, so it's almost like we were talking about a dodgeball, like it almost fits the rest of it. It's such a ridiculous movie that it's like,
yeah.
yeah, it might as well just end like that. You know what I mean?
So I'll give it a 5. I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10. Like it was enjoyable, and then like it's an hour and 32 minutes, and it wasn't even a completed movie. In some parts, I just felt like, man, hurry up.
Yeah, it definitely drags. But again, like it has like that MST3K value to it.
Well,
Like, because there's nothing
They
about.
did do that one.
Did they actually do that one?
They did.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
I'll
like
check that.
the original run too, like in the 90s. Yeah, I remember.
Oh,
I definitely saw that. I think that's the first time I saw that movie was Mystery Science Theater.
I mean, you can't take it seriously, but it is kind of like a cool movie to like. If it hit me, I think at the perfect time, like around like,
Sure.
I don't know, 12, 13, when like 2 a.m. in the morning or whatever on
Yeah,
Sci-Fi Channel. Like that's when,
absolutely.
and it has like the opening kind of draws you in, as ridiculous as it is, like just some random guy finding like their headshots or their like random Polaroids of them like posing. It's like
um,
them taking like selfies.
what do you I picked this, so what do you want to do next week?
I don't know. I was thinking Psycho Cop 2, possibly. Either Psycho Cop 2 or Intruder. One of those.
Um, let's do Intruder and then Psycho Cop because I feel
Okay.
like I haven't seen Intruder longer than I've seen Psycho Cop 2.
You I was gonna say though, I've had it for like the last decade. I have the unrated version because I know there's like an R-rated version of Intruder and like the unrated version
Oh,
and
I
like
have
the rated
a
version.
yeah, I have a Blu-ray from Synapse, so I'm
Okay, so
pretty
you got
sure
the
it's like
unrated.
yeah, I'm pretty sure it's unrated. Yeah.
Yeah. Funny thing about that movie, Bruce Campbell is like all over like the back cover. Is like his
Oh,
cameo is literally
dude,
like 10 seconds long.
everybody that has a name in this movie, I remember when I was a kid, like they plastered Bruce Campbell, but like the names they put in the title were people that died like super quick in the movie.
Yeah. Or just like we're in there for like one scene. Yeah.
They put on the cover, they put anyone associated with Evil Dead. They knew what they were doing.
Oh yeah, Sam. Well, that yeah, they have that image of like Sam Raimi with like the hook in his neck or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like
So all right, guys, this is the inaugural episode. Let us
it's
know.
fun, man.
Let us know if you liked it, disliked it. I don't
Yeah.
care. Comment.
It's not it's not on Amazon Prime. Wait, where did you see it? Tubi?
Tubi, yeah, I did watch this on Tubi. I don't know where else it's available. I just happened to find out that it was on Tubi, and I was like, "Fuck it, all right, I'll watch it on there."
Might be on YouTube. I don't know. It's
Probably,
definitely
dude. There's a lot of
definitely
shit on YouTube that like I can't believe hasn't been flagged. Like there are a lot of movies on YouTube, like just
yeah.
weird shit. All right, so next week it's Intruder. For our inaugural episode, we're out of here.
Right.